Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a special presentation.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm Phil.
I'm Chase.
And this is a special episode.
Yeah.
A little bonus episode for you guys.
Yeah. More or less, it's just a block of things we watch. But from a specific event, we spoke, I don't know, however long ago that was, about our short film, An Affair at the End of Time, being finished up, and it had its premiere last weekend at the Savoy Lumière, the first annual Savoy Lumière.
Yep.
So premiered on the big screen. That was fun. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you want to start on a sappy note, or do you want to end on a sappy note?
We can just end on a sappy
And
note.
it makes sense because that's literally the end of our thing.
It is the last thing that we watched.
So we can build to the sappy note.
Yeah, we can just go from night to night.
From night to night, yeah. Let's take you on this journey with us.
We're going to start real strong, and then it's going to peter out.
Yeah, and then we quit seeing things. But we did. We saw a lot. It went from, I'll tell you, Thursday, May 29th through Monday, June 2nd.
Or for us,
Sunday, June 1st. Yes. We hung in there. We saw a lot that the festival had to offer.
We saw more than most.
More than most, yes. We definitely put our time in. But great time. Had a great time.
It was fun.
Our hometown local theater, we've been employed there. We've been going to that theater since we were kids. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun to have this experience. I feel like we were in good company.
Yeah.
There was nothing I saw that I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely nothing where I was like, oof.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
nice.
But to start, shout out to Nat Dykeman, who was the festival director. We got to chat with him over the weekend, get to know him a little better.
A lot of chatting.
Yeah, a lot of chatting. He's a real passionate guy, I mean, he's doing some cool stuff around here. Looking forward to doing more with him in the future.
Oh yeah, and there's already stuff kind of in the works.
Yeah.
For future projects and stuff like that.
He's planning.
What did it say? Like before each block, where it's like, and don't be afraid to
talk to the filmmakers.
They
Trust
love
me, they love to talk shop.
And,
yes, that is true.
And Nat loved to talk shop.
Yes, he did. But a lot of people did too. I mean, depending on some people didn't want to talk at all. But
some people didn't even show up.
That's true.
So,
but I mean, I think you get that with any festival. Really, this is our second big kind of festival thing that we've attended. But yeah, it was great. So let's just dive into it. A lot of short films, a lot of fewer feature films for us. We're just not late night guys like that anymore. I feel like even, what did we go see not too long ago? What was that? Nosferatu, I think, was the one that we went and saw past 9 o'clock that we were like, whew.
It was I felt like there is something else too.
Yes, there was. Maybe it was the Daft Punk movie or something.
Yeah,
it was definitely something.
One got towards the tail end. That was definitely.
Yeah, we have no business in a movie theater past a certain time. We're like gremlins. We should probably be in bed.
Or if anything, I need to plan my naps around it.
Right.
That's usually my problem. Is like, I won't take my daily nap, and so then around that like 9-10 o'clock, I already start to hit that wall. It's like, oof, I was supposed to get like 2 extra hours of sleep by now. So
yeah,
that makes it rough sometimes.
So yeah, I guess let's dive in. First night started with a block of short films, the opening night collection here, which we saw all of. It started out with a short film called Contagious Swagger.
And the swagger was contagious.
That it was. It was a fun way to kick things off.
I did enjoy it.
I did. It was about here. I guess I can just straight up read the plot synopsis from
nice.
From the thing. It says this romantic comedy is about a young black man visiting his Asian girlfriend's parents' house for dinner for the first time. His Air Jordan footwear could be the answer to solve a dramatic, forbidden love story, which is a pretty succinct way of putting that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was I had a lot of fun with this one.
Go George.
Go George. Go George. Yeah. There's a
why are you wearing his shoes?
Classic setup of, the hard-ass dad meeting the boyfriend for the first time.
Yeah.
And
you met at the club?
Yeah, he just kind of keeps freaking Jordan fan, huh? I love that. I've been saying that since we saw it. I will probably quote this thing
for the rest of your life.
Probably. I mean, already. I mean, that was like a full week ago, and we've said "Go George" how many times? And me with the Jordan fan, huh? Like is probably the most quotable thing we saw all weekend. I can't think of anything else I've been quoting quite as much as I have Contagious Swagger. I caught it. I caught the swagger.
Oh, yeah.
They warned me. But yeah, and as far as I know, a lot of these, I don't know if you're going to be able to find them or not, but if we know where anything's playing, we'll, be sure to tell you. After that, I think The Ally was the one that played. Here, I'll read it to you. Jan Snyder is energetic, helpful, and in love with black culture and hip hop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the next one.
Yeah, basically the long and short of it is that this white girl who considers herself to be an ally is just a bit much with it.
Yeah.
Almost to an ignorant degree. And it was funny. I feel like that was one of the weaker of the night. Just because I was kind of looking forward to that one. I thought the premise sounded kind of amusing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know. It felt like some of the people were cool with it. Like the dude with the dreads, he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like after she got in trouble, and she was like, "No."
Yeah.
He didn't seem to mind, but her boss definitely had a problem with it.
I feel like that was my biggest issue with the short was just like I almost left it like unclear what the message was almost, you know what I mean, because of like the divisiveness of the characters within it.
Yeah.
And
it's tricky, I guess. I mean, because I felt like she was coming from like a place of love, so like it wasn't like, I don't know, like you said, like she was just kind of ignorant to like the point of like what she might have been saying could be taken offensively and stuff like that, but she genuinely didn't mean any malice with it. So it's like for people to get so upset, it's like, she obviously isn't trying to like mean it in like in a negative way.
Well, and that's kind of what I mean.
You also have to be conscious of like what you're saying and how you portray yourself.
Right, yeah, because there's the scene where she doesn't really think about it, but she has like the little cookout thing for everybody, and she brings the boss the plate that has like fried chicken and watermelon and all that stuff, and she doesn't think anything of it. She's just like, "Oh, I'm bringing my boss a plate of food." Yeah, and it becomes this whole thing. But like that's what I'm saying about like the like where the filmmaker stood and where the message was a little unclear to me. Of like, so what are we supposed to take from this?
Yeah,
that some people need to cool it.
And I felt like the only
on both sides.
I felt like the reason why the boss was even being so hard on her is because like the boss was under pressure with her job. As soon as like the other chick was able, like that band blew up. She's like, oh no, it's all okay now. Yeah, like no, we're all friends here. It's like, because she made you look good, like you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it wasn't like like a moment of like maybe I'm being too hard. It's like, oh, I can benefit from you now, so now it's okay.
Right, and that's what I mean by like
it was like, oh, ugh.
It was kind of unclear to me like what the true message of this whole short was, because there were a few I feel like throughout the festival that I felt like I went on the ride and then like there was no destination. You know what I mean? Like once we got to the end of it, I was like, oh, okay. Like and now it's over. And that was kind of one of them that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this one. I did. I mean, it was a fun watch.
Overall, it wasn't bad,
no.
but I can definitely agree with how the message was kind of a little unclear, I suppose.
Then the short after that, I feel like, in a way, tackles a different side of the same subject. This is called A Mind of Its Own. Probably my favorite of the first night was about a black woman trying to it says here, move up the corporate ladder. And she's working for a shampoo company, but her hair is like a puppet and talks, and she's got this big afro, and a lot of her white coworkers kind of come at her about like her unprofessional hair and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with it, just like the visual style that it had.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious. I mean, I thought the whole idea of the hair and how it was kind of had its own thoughts and a mind of its own, you know?
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the concept quite a bit. And that was one where I felt like the message was a lot more clear, you know? By the time you got to the end of it, it's like I was, you know, she does kind of start to succumb to what she thinks other people want from her. But there at the last second, you know, she comes back swinging.
Yeah.
Is just herself, and
just to be comfortable and confident in your own skin, kind of thing, you know. So,
no, I enjoyed that one. A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of laughs.
Enjoyed the acting. I thought the I don't know. I don't know if I said this to you. I know this isn't who voiced the hair, but the hair sounded a lot like Cat Williams sometimes.
Yeah.
Which
I'm assuming it was probably just like
I know
someone
it was
doing
just,
like their own version of it, but
so we got 3 comedies back to back to back, and then they hit us with some drama there at the end of the short film block with Rock Island Prison, 1864. Short, quick. Those are synonymous.
yeah, short and quick.
Short and quick.
I'd probably say it was my least favorite
of that night.
Of the night.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable.
I don't think it was bad. I just like.
That's one that it's like I could see watching a whole movie about this, but because it was so quick, it just kind of hit the bullet points of this moment in history, I guess.
Yeah.
Like so quickly that like the film itself was about a Confederate POW prison, it looks like, in Civil War times. Yes, okay. So the runaway slaves are now Union soldiers, and it's all based on a true story because there was a prison in Rock Island, Illinois, that held the Confederates. And the plot was basically like this runaway slave was now guarding his once owner, and there was a bit of tension there, and the other Union soldiers were like, hey man, we're not slaves anymore. You got to stand up to this guy. He doesn't own you, you know, you own you. And that was like the big line, you know, I own me. And like I could see it being like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
You know, for something bigger. But according to this, it was 7 minutes. And I know a good portion of that 7 minutes was like a lot of text on screen.
Yeah.
Kind of all like a History Channel kind of thing.
Kind of just explaining like the whole like situation.
Yeah.
And then
so you get a lot of information super quick, and narratively, you know, you've got this little slice of story, but at 7 minutes you can't really dive too deep into it.
Because it was a pretty quick turnaround. Like it showed the guy having him as a slave, and then it flipped around to where he was in the prison, and then he's yelling at him, and then he's like, no. Yeah. And then it was over.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Which again, like I said, I mean, I could totally see if this is a proof of concept film or something.
Yeah.
Or even just something short to like, if there is like a Rock Island, like if they've got something over there. that's like a museum or something.
Yeah.
I could see this being something that they play,
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like, had it been longer and you could kind of get into the meat of the subject, for sure.
Yeah, even just being able to like kind of just build a relationship like with the characters and stuff like that. Like everything happened so quickly, it's like you couldn't even fully get invested into the characters and like what was going on. I felt like a little bit,
right.
know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it moved at a breakneck speed. But it did shift gears to prep us for the feature film that night, because we went from all the ha-has, all the laughs, and then we had Rock Island as a little bit of a prelude to the feature film called Brim, which I know, several people involved with the film. I've been looking forward to seeing it. Keenan Daly was the director, who I finally officially got to meet during the premiere. I had met his girlfriend in the past. She was our original Susie for Flippin' Susie.
Yeah.
And I knew that they had been working on this project for a while, and they had held a previous screening in town that I didn't get a chance to go to. So finally got to see it. It takes place over the course of... It follows multiple generations of this black family.
Yeah.
And just kind of explores, the racial trauma passed down from generation to generation. I know that they had talked about their work with, Columbia University and the Alzheimer's unit, and how there had been the research on like how racism affects Alzheimer's. And that's kind of what led to this film a little bit.
Right.
Which, it was one of those things that I think had they not said that before the film started, I don't know if I would have gotten that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in there. It is in there.
Yeah, because maybe I just don't remember them saying that, but that definitely makes like the later scene, like when they are sense. Like getting the tests done for Alzheimer's and stuff like that, and how that all happened too. Makes a little more sense as to why they included it and stuff like that as well.
Right. Because like I said, it's in there for sure. Like the you got the... Who's that? I think the grandmother at the beginning.
Oh, yep. She
and,
did too.
And how she was kind of failing, and how this is obviously also kind of a generational thing, is Alzheimer's in their family, and so it's in there. But if that, as a main point of the film, I don't know if I would have picked up on that had they not said something.
Yeah.
I know, like I said, for me, I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a pretty damn good movie. I think Trudy wrote an amazing script with some very compelling characters.
Yeah.
The opening, I think, we've talked about it since, and we've talked to one of the producers on the film, Kevin Lau. We got to know him over the weekend.
Yep.
Asked him some more questions about the film as well. And we were discussing, there's definitely some stuff at the front half of the movie where, it's hard to knock points because, they only had so much money to work with, and they were ambitious enough to do a period piece.
Yeah.
And not just a period piece, but like a multi-generational period piece, which I think... What does it start all the way back
I think it's like
30s,
50s,
right?
Was it 30s?
Well, because I'm talking like opening scene, like when the main character's dad dies. That probably would have been like the 20s or 30s, because then I think the main action picks up in the 1940s.
Oh, I thought it was the 50s.
Well, because all I know is by the time 1964 hits, that's when his son is like 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he sees his father, lynched, murdered by, these angry white folks at the beginning. And I mean, who can blame Leroy for acting the way he does, when these fucking white people keep doing the same shit to his family over and over and over again, I too would probably beat the shit out of a white guy at a rally getting in my face, you know, like it's just like that stuff's just going to bubble up inside of you. But yeah, in the earlier stuff with it being like in the past and they definitely worked with what they had, but I remember bringing it up to Kevin, just like the one thing that really kind of took me out of it sometimes was the passage of time and how it was fall like through all year.
Yeah. The scenery stayed the same, it's just the dates changed.
It's like March, December, these leaves are constant, buddy. But yeah, I mean, again, we're just being fucking nitpicky, but you're doing the best with what you got. I mean, I think they did a pretty good job. I think without, you know, spoiling too much with this film, I think once it hits the 1950s area and he comes back and finds his girlfriend and she's had the baby and stuff.
Yeah.
I think from that scene forward, that movie just hits its stride.
Yeah.
I mean, undoubtedly. And I mean, that scene when he finds her gave me chills. The guy's performance.
I'd say like when he came back from his little 5-year stint.
Yeah.
That's like winning his girlfriend back and stuff like that, and then
that too. Forward,
yes, like all the build up to that scene.
Yes, I agree.
After that, I was like, okay, because at first I was like, all right, and then like I started able to get into it a little more as like it kept progressing and stuff like that.
Absolutely, so. Yeah. I agree, because I liked that too. I liked that whole little him trying to win his girl back.
Yeah,
and just following her home. Can I walk you home? I really enjoyed that. And hey, he was damn persistent. And,
months,
if not
almost a year.
I was gonna say
it was almost a year. And then he didn't. He was running late that one time, and she was acting all concerned. And it's like, oh,
yeah,
you like him walking you home.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. Yeah, there's a lot of things that like I really can't wait to talk to Trudy more about this because I really enjoyed like Trudy's script. I feel like, you know, just the writing of this movie I really enjoyed. That's not just me being biased with Trudy either. I mean, I really did think it was a great script. Yeah, because then I got chills when that happened. But then there's the whole thing that he does like with his son afterwards, where he's like trying to find somebody to take the kid. And I was like, ooh, like what a powerful scene that was. That was the other thing that sometimes, like, it took me a while just because of the way it was shot to like, I mean, I picked up on it, but like when he would like see the ghosts of family members and stuff, the way it was shot, you couldn't really differentiate between what was real and what wasn't. I mean, it all kind of seemed the same. There was no like ethereal effect or anything when they're around. So there were a few times because we'd seen, like, especially his father, like we only saw him a little bit at the beginning. And so then when he like kind of pops up later, I was like, who's that guy? And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. He's seeing his dead dad. Gotcha. But yeah, that scene where his father does show up and he's, you know, looking good and gives him all that advice about his baby and stuff, and I was like, damn, what a powerful scene. Yeah. But certainly one of many from that point forward, because
for sure.
Because then he takes ownership. You got that little about a 10-year time jump where his son gets older, and then you get into that little scene taking him to the rally. Yeah. The father gets arrested. And then we jump from 1964 to 1994, and the son is now a grown man working for this man played by Matthew Green, who was just fucking incredible. And again, I think this is a two-hander. I mean, I'm just as impressed with Matthew Green's performance as I am Trudy's writing. I mean, she wrote an incredibly compelling character, and Matthew Green brought that fucker to life like nobody's business. Yeah. And he crushed the role. And then his son was played by Dylan Heck, who is from good old Chasing Shep's Summer Camp of Horrors. Yep. He did good as well in it. He was
Chasing Shep Get Too High.
And Chasing Shep Get Too High. That's right. He's a repeat offender. But yeah, that was all so fascinating to me. You know, the whole Matthew Green storyline.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Trudy about it the next day, she's like, when it switches from the black family to the white family, I'm like, I didn't really think about it that way, but I guess, but like, it wasn't even like that per se. It was just like, what a fucking compelling character, because like my thing is, it's like the way he's influenced by outside forces and how he's just a bit of a worm. Of a dude, and like the scene where he just flat out lies about having the gun pulled on him, and how he's just like being force fed all this racist shit from
hatred
from peers, from the media, even his wife, and I like the use of like the archive footage with Bill Clinton, with the whole criminal bill that they were passing at the time. I think that was really well incorporated into the story. I liked Dylan's character. I enjoyed that whole storyline with him falling in love with the black girl at the skate rink, and but certainly when he gets jumped, and that whole scene after where Matthew Green's character
in the jail cell,
when he I will definitely in the theater when he. That scene's getting heated, and he drops the N-word hard. The whole theater felt it, and one person was vocal, "Woo!" And I was like, that person just said what we were all feeling. I was like, "Damn!" Woo! God damn! It just like got so intense, and then it's like, "Oh, you thought that was intense?" And then there's the scene where he pulls him out of the hospital early to go pick the guy out of a lineup, and probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. I mean, just so fucking intense, and just like clearly Matthew Green's character has just fully gone.
He's fully
he's
himself
fully committed to this line of thought, and I think both him and Dylan did a great job. I liked the creative choice to not show the lineup and just let the imagery speak for itself. I mean, it was clear what was happening when Dylan's character had repeatedly already said, like, it's not what you think. It was a white guy. A white guy did it, and he's like, no, and the whole thing.
They would never do that.
Yeah, and train. Was there a train in Brim? I don't think so. No. But the whole like grabbing him by the hair and pressing him up against the glass and being like, remember, and like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And you never see the lineup. You just see the look on Dylan's face when they walk into the room, and he's just like, it's none of these guys.
Yeah.
And that scene was just so powerful.
I don't care, just pick one.
Oh, that too. Like to end the scene on that note was even more heartbreaking. There were so many moments in the back half of this movie that had me audibly going, no. Right. Oh God! Like I wish, I wish somebody had a camera on my face during this movie so I could see my reactions back to a lot of the shit that goes down at the end of this movie, because I was like truly disgusted by some of the actions of these characters, which again is accredited to Trudy's writing, Keenan's directing, the acting. I was really in it. There at the end, and was just hurting so much for some of these characters. Now, I will say, I feel like this kind of is a problem with any multi-generational story. Pick one. It doesn't matter. Forrest Gump or Brim. It doesn't matter. No matter how many, decades-long stories you tell, they always kind of run the risk of feeling like two totally separate movies by the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, you always feel like you're watching one movie, and then, like, by the end of it, you're like, that movie feels like it was ages ago.
Yeah, because it was.
Because it was, yeah. And it feels like a totally separate thing by the end. I do wish, because she is right, the focus does shift to the white family a lot more in that back half, but I do wish that we stuck with the main characters a little bit more through that. Story-wise, I don't exactly know how you would, given the events that play out at the end, but I think by the end, when it came back to them, there was that sense of disconnect because we hadn't seen them. Like we moved away for a second, and then we came back. But no, even there at the end, that's when a lot of the Alzheimer's stuff kind of kept coming into play. And you saw, I did think that cut from Matthew Green, like when he's still Matthew Green, to he looks out the window and looks back and he's the old man. I thought that was one of the best transitions in the whole movie. I thought that was super slick. One of the best time jumps I think that they had for sure, because then he's taking that Alzheimer's test with the doctor and they're like, oh yeah, all clear, good job there, buddy, and here's your medicine. And then to jump over to the characters that we've been following for generations, and he's being administered the same test and he's clearly not being treated the same, and I didn't hear nobody offer him any medications or anything like that. And ultimately I believe he does pass away, I think, and the son is giving the eulogy there at the end. But no, overall, heavy film, very well made. I think it's very well shot. Keenan has a very artistic eye. I've noted, because I told you I saw his short film Green probably over 10 years ago now. And while I was watching this, I was like, yes, this is the guy who made Green for sure. He has a he's got a voice. He's got an artistic vision, and I dig that about Keenan. And I know Kevin kind of said something about this film itself almost being like a bit of a proof of concept to like give it another go. And I can't wait to see where this movie goes in the future. I mean, I love the cut I saw. And
it was the first time it was ever shown.
Yes, that cut. Yes. Yeah. Yep. This was their first feature too. I know it was, an uphill battle as making a feature can be, I suppose. But yeah, it was great. I'm glad we got to be there and witness it on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
But that closed off night one. And the next day we picked back up with another block of short films. Some good ones. It was a fun block because that was the science fiction short films Friday night.
Yeah.
And it kicked off with probably one of my favorites of the whole festival, which was Figment.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that one. Just the whole concept. Oh, goodness gracious.
I know.
Just the whole concept of taking a pill and an imaginary friend showing up.
Yeah.
And then they just keep going farther with it. And I was just so fascinated. Like that's the word that kept echoing in my brain the whole time we were watching it was fascinating. The whole time we were watching, I'm like, fascinating. And it was, I feel like one of the most well-balanced films we saw the whole weekend, as far as like, it had a lot of tones it was juggling. Yeah. But it did a really good job of juggling this stuff.
It's just even like with grief and everything else that. So
that antelope joke killed every time. She's just watching the nature show.
Oh yeah.
Every time, at least one lady thought it was funny every time. But I enjoyed that. And then the imaginary friends start getting imaginary friends, and like you said, how it kind of deals with grief and loneliness, and then there was that big twist at the end. I was like, oh shit, okay, nice.
Yeah,
because there was definitely,
I was happy about it.
For sure, I really enjoyed that twist, especially because there's something that happens in the back half of this short film that you could feel it in the whole audience. Some people were more vocal about it than others, but you could tell everyone was like, wait, what? Like, because it's one of those things where you don't know if you should laugh at how ridiculous it is. Because some people were laughing, some people were just straight up confused. Like how is that even possible? But then that twist comes along, and you're like, oh shit! Like, okay, did not see that coming. One of the many great twists that night. There's another. I say many. I think one of two. There was another great twist later that night. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorites of the whole thing.
Same.
But this next one, let me see if I can get this right. Tskackaphis?
Yeah, something like that.
Tskackaphis, I think, is how you say it. which is the name of the main character. Super short, weirdo comedy. I love me some out there comedy, and this one was out there. And I have to say, if that fucker was really made for a 48-hour film festival, and they really did all that in 48 hours, holy shit, I thought we were good at run and gun.
Right.
But my God, that was such a well-made film for 48 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it got a vocal reaction out of me.
That it did. Probably my favorite Phil reaction of the entire festival, in fact. Yeah, because the main character is just being weird. She's got this like floaty, airy vibe about her the whole time. And her two friends are over, and she's like, the whole thing starts with her being like, it's expose yourself day. We have to expose our private bits to one another. They're like, what the fuck? And she's like, so like start by telling like your deepest secret. And the one girl starts, she's like, well, when I'm in hotels, she's like, no, it's not that. And then she's just looking all guilty. She's like, I can turn invisible. And she just disappears. And next to me, Phil goes, what the fuck?
I wasn't ready for it.
He really wasn't. Oh,
I
man.
turn invisible and boom. There's no chance for me to process what I just heard. And then it happened. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
It was no joke. And then the other girl, it's like, well, I'm actually three people. You know, and the whole thing was just this really, really wacky sci-fi comedy that was probably about, you know, it says 7 minutes here.
Yeah, it feels about right.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a breeze.
She was saying that interdimensional creature.
Yes, and she could only communicate with him in a telephone booth. Which my thing was, as I was watching this, I know, well, I've also never participated in a 48-hour festival, but I do know that typically what they do is they'll give you a prop, like a line of dialogue and something else, and you gotta build your film around these things. And as I was watching it, I'm like, well, I bet the telephone booth was probably one of the things, just by the way that like it felt so out of place.
Yeah,
and then there was something
she kept going back into it. She's like, oh, one moment.
Yeah. And then there was something at the beginning of it where they're like, when they're all talking, the girl's like talking about something like very specifically that I'm like, I'd almost bet that was whatever else was given to them to incorporate into the film. But yeah, that one was a lot of fun. I feel like the whole audience really enjoyed that one for as bizarre as it was. After that, there was Home Planet, which that was the one where it kind of gives you a bit of a red herring at first. Yeah. Makes you think you're in for a story about UFOs and alien abductions and whatnot. And then it takes a more dramatic turn. That one was all right. I mean, again, there was nothing we saw that we just like straight up didn't enjoy by any means. But that was another one where this doesn't even have the benefit of multiple generations or a 2-hour runtime. But it felt like we watched two different movies. Yeah. Yeah, because there's the whole thing at the beginning with the cops and stuff, and then it pivots into what the main story is, and it did feel like two totally different things. They didn't necessarily blend very well together. But is this the most critical we've ever been? I think it might be. So people are going to listen to this podcast and be like, God, these guys are dicks. They got something to say about everything, don't they? It's like, I mean,
after we watch like a big studio movie, it's like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah. Right. Well, what do you want? They're Disney, you know. I mean, yeah. To preface, we're not going to knock anybody for ever making a film. That is in and of itself like a feat on its own.
Well, no, but we also have to get into it like a little bit more, just because it's like they are short films.
They are short.
So films. There's only so much to say about them sometimes. So it's like,
I'm just trying to take the audience on the journey we went through. Yeah.
Because I don't know, Home Planet definitely wasn't my favorite.
No, I
didn't think it was bad. It's just like kind of like what you said, where it kind of like changed the pace from like the one story, like with like it being about UFOs, and like, oh, it's not. It's about this, and then I don't know. I just felt like I wish I would just could have had like more context to like what was going on or like why it was happening or whatever.
Another one that I could totally see being like a feature length thing that you could like get into, more of this. Because I know this was the one, like, after we saw it, I was describing it to Belle, and she's like, well, that sounds really emotional. I was like, I know it sounds really emotional. I said, but it just doesn't, at least for us, like, it didn't really hit as emotionally as I felt like it could have because of that disconnect from the first half of the short to the second half. It's like, I feel like I didn't go on a journey with this guy necessarily. I feel like I was in one place with this guy, and now I'm in another place being told all this other stuff, and with the whole UFO misdirect, I feel like, in a way, you probably could have just done away with that. The whole UFO misdirect thing, I think, is just there to kind of build a bit of mystery that I think you could have had the mystery regardless. You could have just had this guy walking around like, what's his deal?
You could have just had a drone flying around if that's, that's what it was. It didn't have to be.
Because I still would have questioned it. I still would have been like, why is this man wandering and being followed by a drone and stuff like that? And there's still a lot of ways to build that mystery, but it's like you have that first part that's like almost like a sci-fi comedy with a little,
because like the
little
cops
drips and drops of
like
horror.
The cops were more like the comedic relief.
Yeah,
and so it kind of set up like, oh, this is the tone. And then
they said the fuck it is, and they just do a total 180, and it's like so like the rest of it is so dramatic. Like the humor just leaves the film as soon as he leaves the police station, and it becomes like something totally different. And it's one of those things where I would have watched a full version of either one of those two films. Yeah. But this feels like the guy got up and left one movie and went to another a little bit. Yeah. But it did have, the ending was still sweet. We're not heartless, goddammit. Yeah. It was still sweet. I enjoy plots like that. A lot of this was definitely my kind of sci-fi too. I love the more heady, like kind of down to earth sci-fi myself. Home Planet. The next one it's so hard to say this because it was so well made, but probably one of our least favorites was Sweet Dreaming. Which from a technical perspective may have been one of the most well-made things we saw all weekend. It was visually very stunning. Yeah. And again, Kevin Lau was a producer on this one as well. And we talked with Kevin. We kept it real with him the next day and said, hey, you're going to have to explain that one to me because we did not get it. It completely flew over our heads. And to hear him explain it a little bit more, I was like, okay. I can dig on that. But it was definitely a lot more up for interpretation than some of the others. I feel like a little bit more. There's a word I can't find it, but you know what I mean. Like it not as straightforward. Yeah. Whatever. It's not coming to me.
That's okay. Maybe it will later.
But the acting was good. It's very, very well made. But I think the story just wasn't for us. And I think that was a big thing we learned about ourselves over the weekend too, is we're big story guys, which we probably should have already known this. Yeah. We've always been big story guys, even when we come from the standpoint of making a film ourselves. Like we always approach it story first. But yeah, Sweet Dreaming. And then, the roughest one of them all, Philip. As easy as closing your eyes. Ruined me. Wrecked me, bud.
Oh, yes. Okay. It took me a second. I was like, the roughest one of them all.
I distinctly remember this short ended and...
on an emotional standpoint, most definitely.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Yes, to be clear, phenomenal short film. It was fantastic. Yeah. You want to talk about getting you in your feels. I don't know if ever in my life I've ever felt so heavy watching anything. I just was like not okay watching this movie, dude.
Yeah, we had to go step outside.
I did, because this was the end of the short film block before the movie was getting ready to start. And there was going to be a Q&A afterwards. And we're walking out, and that's like, "Are you staying for a Q&A? Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "I need to go for a walk after that, dude. Like, I need to clear my head. I need to think about life." I just like, my God, like, but yeah, it's like, this was one of those where, like, again, I feel like they balanced their tones very well.
Yeah.
You know, very well made, very well executed. Again, and with a twist I did not see coming. You know? And just well done across the board. But yeah, like, these people are addicted to a drug that they give people the sense of kind of reliving past things sometimes, or just kind of living in a bit of a dream state. And this woman uses it to spend her dead son's birthday with him. I swear to God, Philip, as soon as she took the drug and that son like shows up and like walks into the room, it's like, "Mommy, I can't sleep." I don't know, my whole being just shifted. Like, if I
got chills.
I just like, it started as chills. You would have thought I just like went through a whole fever. I just like, I had such a physical reaction to this film, like unlike I've ever had in anything else. Like, maybe it's because, you know, I have a son now, and like, just like with the kid being as young as he was in it, and just like, you know, as a good film should do, like, it made me think about, like, if I was in this position, like, and God damn it broke my heart and to a million pieces. I was just like, and then it was one of those that, like, as it kept going, and it's like, oh, boom, here's a twist, and then boom, here's that twist. And like, as things kept happening at the end, I just felt like I kept deflating more and more. I just, like, things would happen, I go, no,
I'm not done having fun with you.
And I'm just like, no, that short had its way with me emotionally. I was just like so fucking wrecked by it. But it was like so simultaneously beautiful and sad all at once. And I was just like, oh my God, that's something I don't know if I could sit through a feature film of that without just straight up being depressed as fuck. I
feel like
it was really in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it really hit all its marks within the time frame that they used. I felt like they did a good job telling like the full story within. I wasn't like, I didn't need more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was definitely like a one cohesive,
very well paced
story.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, you know. I feel like that's the thing with short films. Like, a great short film does that. You know, it's like it really hits its marks, you know, and kind of gives you a full experience. You know?
Yeah, because I feel like, especially like with short films, I feel like there's like two different like directions that people try to go sometimes. I feel like you're either trying to use it as like a proof of concept where you are trying to get like a feature-length film out of it.
Yeah.
And so then you're kind of like, when you watch them, and you're kind of left hanging with wanting more, not fully understanding everything, because not everything's fully explained. And then you have something like the one we just talked about, where it's like they knew it was going to be a short film, and that's what it was, and it hit. They got everything in there that they wanted to say, I feel like.
Yeah. I do think there's a temptation for some filmmakers to drag some things out, like just because they want to make a feature length thing or something. Because like we have a project right now that's we've got. I wouldn't even say we go back and forth on whether to make it a short or a feature. We've just kind of said, let's write it and see how long it ends up being.
Oh yeah,
but the more Belle and I have talked, we kind of talked about it after this weekend of short films and stuff, and I was just kind of thinking on what we already had, and it was kind of along those same lines of like, I think this should just be a short film. Like, I think, you know, like maybe a bit of a longer short film, maybe around the 45-minute range or something, but like, I think to do it any longer, then you're just adding filler.
Yeah.
Which with this short, as easy as closing your eyes, I really do think anything more that they added just would have been fluff.
Yeah.
It just would have been, you know, filler. I mean, could you have done something with it? I guess, but I feel like then you're running the risk of taking away from the impact of it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super in the pocket. One of my favorites, for sure, of the festival. Although, when it came time to rate them afterwards, I did, because it was so immediately after, like, literally, like, it ended, and then we walked down and rated them on a tablet. I'm like, I want to give this one less point just because of how shitty I feel right now.
That's funny. I'm too emotional.
I'm too emotional. Why did you do this to me? So yeah, that closed out the science fiction short films. Had some great ones in there. And then we came back later, caught one more short film called Loose Change.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I feel like I like that one a little bit more than you did. And you know what? And that's okay.
And that's okay.
There are times where, we'll like something more than the other, and that's just how it is.
I feel like it touched on things that are more
up more my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is my kind of short film, especially like with dealing with like the subject matter and stuff like that. It is. I do tend to gravitate towards that kind of stuff a little bit.
Because again, it wasn't anything that I thought was bad. That was one of those that I was like, where did we go on this ride? Not on the bus. I know that much.
No.
But yeah, because I mean, again, you kind of get that too, where it's like sometimes there's short films that you do want a little bit more out of. You're like, it's like I could have spent a little bit more time here to connect to things a little bit. And this was one of those for me.
Yeah, because you could have developed the relationship between like the mother and the son more and stuff like that, and kind of just build more into their relationship and kind of what their dynamic really is and stuff like that, because ultimately you're just getting a glimpse into one night, and that's really about it. And then the mother's not even really a part of it, like she is, but she isn't. Like, she's asleep for most of it.
Yeah.
It's really just about the son trying to score for his mom, so.
Pretty simple premise. Yeah. All in all.
He took some loose change out of her purse and was going to help her out.
That's true. But yeah, that was the short that played before the feature of the night. A Spanish action film called Gunman. Which
I really enjoyed.
I did. It definitely grew on me. There are times where I feel like I love a good oneer, but I feel like I like them in small doses. I feel like a scene, even if it's like a long scene, you can do a 10-minute fucking scene, I don't care. But like a whole movie as like a one-take thing, like I think of 1917, in particular. I remember going to see that and just being bored out of my mind because of the way it was shot. Because it was one continuous take. And there never seemed to be like any sort of like, I don't know, sense of urgency necessarily in things. And
I feel like that way too, especially about 1917, where it's like, I can see why you would feel bored because nothing really happens. I mean, he gets the letter, his friend gets murked, and then nothing. And then he goes into that one town and there's people, and he has to escape out, and then he's running through the cannon blast, and then he delivers the message, and it's over. Yeah, like there's like a lot that it's just like traveling and just like him just kind of being
places.
Yeah, so it's not like At least like with Gunman, I feel like there was a lot of like action sequences and stuff like that. So there was a lot going on. So like you are able to just like you're running around this town with this dude all night and shit is happening. So it's like, okay, I'm engaged because it's just crazy.
Which I do enjoy that kind of like subgenre of, I suppose it's usually within the crime genre of like the run all night movies.
Yeah.
It's just over the course of a night, just your protagonist just trying to get in or out of whatever fucking situation. You know? And but yeah, I think the whole continuous like one shot thing with this movie actually worked quite well.
Yeah.
To an impressive degree, especially because it's like a low budget thing.
And some of the shots, I mean,
I'm still
just amazing. Like some of the camera work,
incredible.
I thought was just amazing. Like I was enthralled the whole time. At first I was like, oh, okay, and then I was like, once like the shit went sideways, I was like,
oh, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm locked in. Yep.
Let's go running.
Yep, and run we did, and
we went. And there was like some,
it's a week later, and I still don't know how the fuck they did some of the camera work. They did in that movie.
I'm glad that the Q&A didn't work, because then I'd be mad if we weren't there to ask, because I was even talking about, I was like, we didn't stay for the Q&A. I was like, I don't know if I had any questions. I'm like, well, that's just a damn lie. I'm like, I could definitely have came up with quite a few questions.
Oh, yeah.
I just, I've read the fence.
You're still on the fence?
The fence was my favorite, I think my favorite shot.
Favorite shot, yeah.
Because they did it twice.
It was up there for me, for sure.
Yeah, that and then like the quick transition over to the car. Those were my two favorite shots of the night.
I think for me, those were definitely up there for me. The fence one for sure, but I think when he first gets in the truck with him at the beginning, and the whole thing's being shot from like the passenger window.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, how did they do this? Like, is this guy just holding on to the side of the truck while shooting this? This is insane. And then the other one was when he gets on the motorcycle.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was cool because even when that was happening, I was like, well, how the fuck are they about to do this? Like, this motorcycle is going to take the fuck off, and sure enough, they were just able to be right there.
Something I did not think about until we were talking to Nat the next day about it was the fact that they would have had to have like, if they truly did it in one shot without any like hidden cuts or anything, they would have had to have timed their filming so that by the time they were getting to the end of filming, it was dawn.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even think about that until he said that. I'm like, dude, holy shit. Like, I mean, a technical masterpiece.
Yeah. Because you'd have to because you'd have to know how long each shot's going to take. And then how long that's going to span for. To be like, okay, well, we're going to start shooting at 2 a.m. And then by the time it's all said and done, like, the sun's gonna be rising.
Oh yeah, so. And I'm sure throughout this whole town, it's just littered with crew members with walkie-talkies and this is one that I would like devour some behind the scenes information on. I'd love to know what their budget was, like, just their whole process, because it was fascinating, and I liked how it ended. Yeah, it seemed like it was going to go one way, went the other way, and I was happy with how it ended.
Yeah, kind of how I figured it would end, but
I guess I didn't. Therefore, I was like, I bet he seemed really out for himself. But not to the degree that I was shocked when he, did the right thing, I guess.
Yeah. So. Well, they got the soup kitchen lady killed.
Oh, shit. I just found out?
No.
From this little pamphlet here? Based on a true story.
Oh. It makes it even better.
Yeah, filmed on location in the place that it went down. That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat.
Oh,
they didn't even say based on a true story.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for this one. It's one I would definitely like to get my hands on whenever it comes out officially.
Oh, yeah.
I'd watch it again.
I'd buy a digital copy.
Oh, for sure. I'd buy a physical copy.
Well, if I could.
Well, hell, hey, you can. What's to stop you?
Well, if they...
Oh, if they have one? Well, yes, that could stop
you. That would be the only deterrent. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Probably one of... Well, I guess we only watched so many feature-length films, but it was definitely...
In your top 3?
Top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I almost want to put it at my number 1.
I think that's fair, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say it was my number 1.
Yeah.
Of the 3 we saw. Gunman. Keep an eye out. Or Gatillero. is the Spanish title of it.
I had nothing else to. I
said who?
No, nothing to
add. So then we
went home.
We went home. We went home after that.
It was late.
It was late. That was late. Yes. And so then we came back on Saturday. Kicked it off early with the animated short films and shorts with kids, which I think had some of the best stuff we saw at the festival the whole weekend was during this block. I should say in the latter half with the shorts with kids.
Yeah. Because the animated shorts. I mean, I did fuck with some of the animated shorts, but not all of them.
I do feel like that happens sometimes. I mean, they get hit or miss. I feel like as somebody that consumes a lot of Adult Swim and like Off the Air and Cake on FX and stuff like that, where there are like a lot of like animated shorts compiled, that happens. You win some, you lose some. The first one of the day, I may be butchering the pronunciation, was Quem Salva, which was the about the firefighters, and the wildfire in the forest and stuff, and the Amazon, and that was one story wise, whatever, give or take, but visually, I mean, the animation was incredible.
Yeah. For sure.
Probably of the lot, I think I enjoyed the animation style the most. It was very reminiscent to me of like Spider-Verse a little bit in some of the way that it would, like, the characters would move and stuff like that. But I enjoyed it. There wasn't too terribly much to that one.
No, he just saved a tree.
He saved a tree, yeah. But damn it, he saved that tree.
Yeah, fuck the warehouse with the people. Just save the tree. And he's like, okay.
Well, I felt like they had that. I feel like the other guys are like, hey, you're at the tree. You take care of the tree. We'll take care of the warehouse. And then there were two Lego shorts animated by a 14-year-old boy, which, they were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little stop motion.
Yeah, a little stop motion Lego animation.
He learned how to fly, and he did something else.
The other one,
the crane.
Learning to fly, and the other one was called Hang. And it says, Lego Man and Rig work on building the spaceship of their dreams.
Yeah.
While rocking out to some amazing music. So, yeah, it was fun. I mean, hey, love to see it. I remember when we were 14 making movies. Look at us now.
Yeah.
So we would have felt like ballers at 14 if our little projects got into film festivals. So
yeah,
I'm sure that was really awesome for him. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it out. I know that he was going to try to make it to the festival, and he couldn't.
Yeah, because he was like from Wisconsin.
Yes. Yeah. And then there was Autophagy,
which I'd probably say was my least favorite short.
Really?
Just overall.
Oh, overall, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just did not like it.
That's fair. That was the one I had to look it up after it was over to see if it was the same director as T is for Toilet from the ABCs of Death. Just very, 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 very similar animation styles, like down to the way they molded their clay. I mean, it was a stop motion animation. And I've noticed, like, that's just like it's a bit of a genre in and of itself, I feel like, of this, like, UK, like, stop motion animation that's just, like, very dreary and ugly and, and
I guess, like, the story just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's the other thing is, like, with all of the shorts that are coming to mind that are like that, they all have just like this, I don't know, they're just kind of up for interpretation,
Yeah.
And
I felt like if I was able to sit with it a little bit more, let it sit in, I might have been able to, like, interpret it in a certain type of way, or maybe just digest it a little bit better. But it ended, and then it's like, okay, next short, and so it's like it was just there and gone.
I feel you. It was definitely one of the stranger ones for sure. Like it says, a waterborne disease ravages a town. The affliction slowly morphing the townsfolk into octopi.
Yeah.
And
it did.
And it did. It sure did. And then, according to the synopsis, this is almost making it more clear to me. It says, with the societal hatred building towards those who are suffering, a couple has the limited choice: afford the medication to carry on living, or drink the water and suffer being shunned. Which, okay, I see that now.
Yeah.
You know, there was definitely like a deeper dramatic story there, but you had to get past the initial layer of like weirdness and darkness.
Yeah,
was there. It was very dreary. Yeah, it was okay. I didn't mind it. Yeah, but so the next one was definitely probably one of the strangest ones of them all. Was Family Portrait of the Black Earth, where a loving husband's quest to find a replacement breast for his cancer-stricken wife ends up in the botany books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that was one that I went into so blind. I was blindsided. I just did not expect that to be what it was, especially when the title came up and it was like Family Portrait of the Black Earth. And then it started and I was like, wait, is that what this whole thing's going to be about? Because like, I don't know if it was made more weird because it was animated or what. Because don't get me wrong, it's like a sweet story.
Yeah.
But I just didn't expect the whole thing to be about a guy trying to find a replacement boob for his wife who just had what was that called, a mastectomy, I believe?
I think so.
And from what I gathered, at first I thought it was saying that God wouldn't let her into heaven until she found another breast, but then at the end they like bury her boob and the breast gets to go to heaven. And it was interesting. It was very interesting, very unique. Just not at all what I was expecting.
No, but it was fun. It was sweet.
Yeah.
So.
And the animation was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very well done. Kind of like a storybook sort of thing that they did with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then the next one was the only animated thing that was a documentary. It's called Plunge. And it was the story.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, about a woman who is overweight and she kind of regains control of her life through reconnecting to nature and the sea. And it's just kind of her, clearly like they did an interview with her and she's just kind of waxing poetically about how swimming makes her feel and being in the ocean and all that stuff and all the shit that she's gone through her whole life. And I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, it was very good. Again, just a very simple, short, not much to it. But yeah, I'm glad. I think that would be cool. I don't know if that's like the only one of those that director has done, but I'm sure that would be a fun little series of shorts.
Yeah.
You know, to highlight all these different people in this way, I think would be really neat. But I enjoyed it. Nothing more to say about that. But then, probably hands down, my favorite animated short was Bird Drone.
Yeah.
You don't talk about heartfelt story. It says it right here, a heartfelt story. Man, what a sweet... What did we just... It was Eternal Sunshine in the last episode because I was like, there's another movie that's making me think of this. It was Bird Drone because of that, just like it's such a sweet, heartwarming tale of like this bird with one eye who feels lonely, seeing all the other birds all coupled up, sharing French fries with each other. And then he thinks he's found another bird himself, which is actually just a drone that somebody's flying around. And I feel like, again, you want to let's see, this was 9 minutes. And in 9 minutes, it gave me everything I could have wanted out of this thing. You know, it had the feels, it had the laughs, you know. I got a kick out of the whole, like, once it does show the guy, like, flying the drone and the bird just constantly being in the way of the shot, just thinking it's staring into the eyes of its lover. I was like, this is hilarious. And then, ultimately for him to find a love in another bird with a little problem itself, a little broken leg or whatever. Such a sweet short. Like, that whole thing just had, like, a smile on my face from start to finish.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. See, this is the opposite problem you get. There's the ones that's like, sometimes you don't have much to say because they're just good. There's what more could we possibly pontificate on?
Yeah. You pretty much described everything.
Pretty much, yeah. If there's a way to see this one, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Definitely a feel-good short. So that brings us to the shorts with kids. 3 shorts back to back to back, which were just some of the highlights of the whole festival.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it started with Calico,
which I really enjoyed.
Really enjoyed that one as well. That was about a girl who has severe vitiligo. She gets bullied at school for it, and she doesn't, want to swim at the swim classes because of her skin. She gets bullied by these bitches who get bullied later too, which is like Yeah, it all kind of came full circle a little bit in that regard. But she starts to again. I think this again had a great blend of tones, where it was serious. It was able to carry its message, but it was also really funny. Yeah, because she meets a talking goldfish, who is a calico fish, which is similar to vitiligo in the sense of like having the the spots and whatnot, and they kind of form this relationship. And again, like such a tight story. Just like I feel like all 3 of these shorts really show what you can do with a short film. Yeah, I mean, these are all in the average range of about 15 minutes. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And it was cool. It was cool that the fish was able to kind of help her feel comfortable in her own skin and stuff like that, and to just love yourself. Yeah. So, because he loved himself. He did. He was the coolest goldfish I've ever met. Yeah. Again, one of those things. It's like, could somebody make a feature out of that? Sure, but do you need to? No. Not really. No, not necessarily. After that, we're 2 for 2. We loved these. They're great. Moved on. The next one after that was called Ruby. Yeah, loved it. Moving on. I did love it. It was a good one. It was definitely one that I'm like, where's this going at first? Like within the first minute or something, like what are we getting ourselves into with this one? And then I liked the quirky colorfulness of it all, and the message of, again, I feel like all 3 of these were kind of like about coming into yourself and just kind of loving who you are, and fuck the rest. Yeah, the others. Yeah, it was a girl that at a Catholic school who was a lesbian. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And then, I don't know if she ever actually fully got to express herself, but the nun who was the main character that was helping Ruby, that pushed to kind of change the system from within, it's very clear that she too is having a bit of a sexual awakening with Ruby's stepmom the whole time. Yeah. And so there's that sweet moment at the end where they get to dance and stuff, but I liked there's that little side character of her new roommate that they give her halfway through, and she's such I love characters like that, the quiet weirdos that hardly ever say anything, but they're just so bizarre. Yeah. And then when they do finally talk, you're like, oh, you do speak, and she speaks. But yeah, that was just a very charming movie. I liked the message, and again, very, very well executed. And then they capped things off with Wolf. Oh! Might have been... Well, it was definitely one of my favorites. For sure. It was up there. It was up there in my top 5. Because it was about a couple of best friends who have a yearly tradition where every Halloween they dress up as a skeleton and a wolf. And
they go trick or treating.
They go trick or treating, no matter how old they are, because they're now in their 30s.
Yeah.
By the time like the short is in present day, but I do like the way that it would jump around in time.
Yeah.
That was one of those things that at first I'm like, ooh, is that gonna work? And it did. It's surprisingly so. I thought maybe that would get a little convoluted, but no, it worked pretty well. And I feel like it really nailed the point home on a lot of the stuff between their friendship, and again, like the both of them just kind of coming into themselves along the way. And
yeah,
I love a good friendship story, and this was,
how could you not?
It was a great one. It was a really great one, and you don't get to see a lot of male-female best friendships on screen a lot too, so that was also nice to see.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, loved it. Moving on.
No, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool story.
But yeah, hopefully, that's the thing with short films. It's hard to say where you can find some of these things. It's I'm assuming most of these are making festival rounds at the moment, but hopefully, someday they'll either be out in some sort of a collection or on YouTube or something. But yeah, they're all worth checking out whenever that time comes.
Yeah,
no doubt. I'm glad we got to see them in theaters. They were really good.
Same.
After that, we took a little break because we needed it. We'd been watching films for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
3 days at that point.
Yeah.
So we took a little break, came back, and saw. Well, we caught the tail end of the short film that played before the feature that day. The short film was called Cabaret Spectacular. I want to say we probably missed about the first 4 minutes of the 12.
Yeah, and I felt like missing that first 4 minutes definitely
was crucial.
Yeah.
Yes.
I came in and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Right. I feel like I figured it out,
I
pieced it together, but it was one that I was like, damn, I'm bummed we missed the first 4 minutes of this because I enjoyed what we saw of it.
Yeah.
I also feel like that's something that's not necessarily explored in movies a lot is relationships with older people.
Yeah.
And the main character was intriguing, He was a bit of an asshole, but clearly going through his own shit.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of internal struggle, And
yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Felt like he meant well, but they don't always come across that way.
Right. I feel like the best way to put it is like he wants love.
Yeah.
He wants to be loved for, himself, but he's such a pig. It's probably the best way to put it. He's just such a pig and meets this nice lady and they have a nice little evening together. It was sweet what we saw of it. A little sad, a little bittersweet, I guess. But yeah, I would have liked to have caught all of that. But after that was another feature called The Premiere. That hails from Chicago, Chicagoland. And it was about a man who is premiering his first feature film at the Music Box Theater in Chicago, and pretty much anything that could possibly go wrong does. It's a whole comedy of errors.
Yeah.
And probably my least favorite of the festival. I had a mix of feelings on it because it's one of those things where we laughed.
Yeah.
We laughed. Laughs were had. I mean, there's no doubt about that, But I just there were a lot of jokes and not all of them hit. I mean, a lot of jokes really fell flat. Whether that just was like the delivery or whatever. Because throughout the whole thing, I could tell, I was like, oh, this script was hilarious. There were so many jokes that they would say the joke and I would be like, I could see how that would be funny if it was delivered in a different way. And that was a lot of this movie, I feel like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For me, it just like didn't really work entirely for me. What did you think?
I thought it was all right. I definitely did have some laughs, but I could definitely tell where there was like some moments where it's like you probably could have done things a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you said, like some of the jokes fell flat. I feel like some of the characters could have probably been done a little differently, like with the dude's dad, and then like one of the movie
box office people.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was good. I thought the joke about how everyone was like, "Oh, well, why would you do this? Like, what the fuck were you thinking?" Like, I thought it was funny, but then after like the fourth, fifth time that we went back to it, it was like, well, okay, yes, like we've heard these jokes several times now, so like that kind of lost its luster.
Yeah,
I felt like a little bit more towards like the end. I was like, okay, yes, we get it. You're insecure about.
Yeah, no, I feel
people are gonna think of your future film, but you don't need to like beat a dead horse.
Oh, and beat a dead horse, it did. For sure. I definitely feel like they beat the point of this movie into the ground.
Yeah,
it's like, yes, this guy's insecure, because then that's like, I know we talked about like a lot of the laughs that were had. We laugh because it's relatable as filmmakers. It's like, especially like all the stuff with the mom. Like a lot of the stuff with the mom is just so obnoxiously relatable. Just not just like with our moms, but just family in general.
Yeah,
and how they will sometimes act about calling them your little videos and just shit like that. And it's like,
or people just not knowing like who you are. Or something
right?
Like it's like, okay, and who are you? Like, well, I made the film. Like, oh, it's not playing here. Like, so like this little like the stuff like that was funny, but
yeah, a lot of really funny moments like throughout. But like I said, I mean, this movie could have been a straight up laugh riot.
Yeah,
for sure. I feel like the script and the premise called for a more frenetic pace than it had. Like, I feel like the movie should have felt more frantic. Like, it definitely should have had that anxiety-riddled feeling of like, oh shit, everything's going wrong. And because I know they did do a Q&A after this one, and the filmmaker had cited Birdman as one of its like influences, which I saw that immediately. I for sure. But the thing with Birdman is there's that frenetic energy that carries like the anxiety and all that stuff.
Which I've never seen.
I know you haven't. I was sitting here the whole time waiting for you to be like, I haven't seen Birdman. Great, now we got to go inside and watch Birdman. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
just that building of anxiety. Just chaos.
Almost kind of like in
visual
Whiplash
chaos.
A little bit.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Kind of had that same
for sure
tone.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was all right. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah.
And that was the premiere.
That was the premiere. And that's about the time we checked out. We were doing real good. I was so excited about the movie that played after that, and we just could not hang in there. We were definitely fading a little bit, and we had some stuff to do, and so we dipped out. We missed AJ Goes to the Dog Park, which was a little bit of the talk of the weekend. I feel like that was the film that got brought up by the most people. Like, oh, you got to see AJ, and then other people were like, oh, I really want to see AJ. Me being one of those people, because I just heard it was like a really weird, absurdist comedy, and I love that type of shit. Very Adult Swim-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
But from what we hear, this one is getting distribution. So, we should be seeing it on digital here.
We'll rent it or something at some point.
For sure. I definitely plan on keeping my eye out for that one. And then the night ended with a thriller that we also did not get to see called The Other People. Let's see here.
And then Sunday.
Sunday. So, yeah, by Sunday, we were well good and tired.
Yeah.
And that was also our big day. It was our premiere day. So, We didn't see pretty much anything that day,
no,
other than the
bars,
the block of shorts.
Yeah. Because you had the Q&A afterwards.
Yep, we. So they did. Where our story leaves off here is they did the block of short films that were the Shambana and Chicagoland shorts. We caught all of our Shambana peers. We were in that block. The one before us was a film called High Standards,
which I thought was funny.
It was fun.
I laughed.
For sure.
I had a fun time with it.
I did. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first, but as it went on, I was like, okay, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I did have a fun time with
it. Just girls looking out for their girl.
Yep.
And just a good dude being a good dude.
Yeah. I did enjoy. I enjoyed the ending, how it kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with that one. Then we'll skip over the next one for a second. Go to the one after that.
Oh yeah, I forgot we have to get sappy.
Yes, we gotta get sappy.
Put me on a maple tree.
Well, anyways, the one that played after ours was called Kal-Haven, which this was one of those proof of concept.
Yeah, hit close to home for me.
It hit real close to home for you, old Kalamazoo.
Yeah. My mom even had to make a comment about it.
Yeah. Mom comes to see our stuff and asks the other people the question at the Q&A.
Not even a question.
Not even a question. Just a straight up statement.
It's like, hey, I'm from Kalamazoo. I don't think you shot that there. Like, we didn't. She's like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah. From what they were saying, because we were a part of the Q&A with the filmmakers, Cal Kosis and Andrew Bales were up there with us for this, and the way they explained it, what we were seeing was basically like the first 10 pages of a feature film that they want to eventually make.
Yeah.
It looks like, I couldn't tell if the characters were vampires or if that was just like what this like group of people, because it's clearly like a post-apocalyptic story. There's clearly been some sort of like virus or infection or something has happened, because there's like a lot of allusions to like the last wave that came through here really hit them hard and stuff, and talking about an outbreak of something.
Yeah, and the guy was wearing a mask.
Right.
And they're talking about there's no virus here or whatever comment that they made.
Yeah, because he was trying to get to the Kal-Haven outpost was the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he runs into these people, and that's where I was like, are they vampires, or is this just like their thing, like that? It's, as post-apocalyptic people like to do sometimes, Some people go the Mad Max route and do the dominatrix thing. Some people are like, let's be vampires, I couldn't tell.
I felt like they were vampires. They drank his blood. I
mean, they definitely drank his blood. That doesn't mean they're not psychos.
I guess.
Because the thing is, they said they said something specific before they started drinking his blood. Like something about like the cure or something to that effect. And so I was thinking like, so is this just like, because they make a comment about some people being immune to it, which is often the case in these outbreak movies.
Yeah.
You always got your group of survivors that just don't get it.
Yeah.
And more times than not, the cure is in these people's blood. You know what I mean? So that's how I interpreted that, was like, okay, so maybe this guy is immune and maybe it does have something to do with his blood. Like, so I don't know. That's one of those things that I suppose I'd have to see the feature film.
Yeah. Well, because if he's immune, then why is he walking around with the mask?
Beats the fuck out of me.
Yeah. So
can never be too safe, I guess.
I suppose.
He may be immune to that, but who knows what else is in there? All these rotting corpses everywhere. You can catch something else. But yeah, I feel you. So not much to expand on. They're beautifully shot. I've seen a little bit of Cal's work now, and he shoots the shit out of things. I mean, looks great.
Yeah,
looks great. and they beat us out, sons of bitches. But our short film, An Affair at the End of Time, also screened. This was our premiere screening.
It sure was.
Premiere screening, and now Phil. Now, call me Aunt Jemima.
Oh.
Because we're about to get sappy.
We're about to get sappy.
So, yeah, I mean, this was a long time coming. Probably more than a lot of people even realized over the weekend.
Yeah.
For Phil and I, this was quite the moment. Because, we went to Chicago last year for The Exorcism of Chase and Shep. And that was magical in its own way of just, being together and seeing a film that I know you weren't as involved with that one.
Yeah.
But still, just to see a film that we've made up on the big screen together, like, it's cool. But this one was one that you and I did together. Like, we wrote this thing, and we have been best friends for almost 20 years.
It's crazy to think about.
Almost 20 years.
I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
It is crazy. Not a lot of people can say it. And for almost 20 years, all we've ever talked about and bonded over, it's not all we've ever bonded over or talked about.
All we ever talked about is movies.
All we ever, movies has played such a big part in our lives and our friendship. 100%. Like over the weekend when Nat asked us if we'd seen Harold and Kumar, I wanted to respond by saying, well, if we'd never seen Harold and Kumar, we probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I mean, that was probably one of the first experiences with the two of us that really got us thinking about making movies together and stuff, and our love for buddy comedies and how that's eventually spiraled into writing some of the saddest shit known to man. But
buddy comedies, shit.
Hilarious. Let's make everybody cry. And
we make people laugh on a regular basis.
We made people laugh all damn weekend. We can't help but yuck it up, and it's no wonder people, because yes, our thing was mislabeled as a comedy, which I feel like because of how much I brought that up, people thought that was a problem for me. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I genuinely found that to be amusing. not at all a downside. Because, some people might be like, oh, it's a comedy, and go in and be very disappointed at the lack of laughs. Except for that one lady. That one lady found things to laugh about. Which I was like, ooh. I was like, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
And, it wasn't like a chuckle. It was like... I felt like it was a whole hearty laugh. I'm like...
But yeah, man, nearly 20 years of friendship, talking about making movies for so long, and to finally be standing there together at our premiere screening at the movie theater that we, like I said, we've gone to like our whole lives, fucking worked there a few years ago, telling people, we make movies. And they're like, well, maybe one of these days your movie will play here. Well,
guess what?
Fast forward 2 years from there, and then... our shit's playing at the theater, and this was also the first time that we ever had like friends and family really like come out and see this. I know the first time our parents have ever been out to see any of our shit, and I definitely had that moment of like, because it never fails, man. We're always like the last to screen.
Pretty much.
This has been the case two for two. Although I do think our next screening in Indianapolis, I think we're one of the first days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, switch it up. They said we've heard. They said, how would you like to be first? Must be tough having the last name Todd. You know what it's like. Always being last. But definitely, like when we walked in and everybody was getting their seats, and Thomas was standing there in front of me. And I told him, I was like, this is our premiere. Like, this is our premiere screening. He's, oh, dude, I didn't know that. Like, that's awesome. And then I started to talk about, this is the first time our family's ever come out and stuff. And, like, as I'm saying it all and looking at the packed theater.
Yeah.
And seeing all of our family there and stuff, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I got so emotional. Also, I just started, like, tearing up. I was just like, holy shit, it's happening. And I did not come down again until... pretty much we got up there to do the Q&A. You would think I'd still be nervous doing the Q&A, but I got over it at that point. But I was just like, my heart was pounding all the way through the short. But I was very, everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. Like I said, if anybody didn't like it, they didn't say it to our face.
Yeah, no one's really giving us any, negative feedback.
Yeah.
really at all.
Yeah. I feel like the most negative thing I've gotten out of anybody with this is saying that they wish they knew more. And I was just like, well, that's just a short film for you. Yeah, I can't, if you wanted more, you'd need a feature length, and this does not warrant that.
I wish I knew more. What do you need? What more do you need to know? He's having an affair on his wife and the world's ending. Like,
yeah, right.
He feels bad about it.
It was cool, man. It was cool to see it in a theater full of loved ones, and also over the weekend, made new friends, got to see old friends. It was just a great weekend. Magical experience. Another one for the old memory books, and it kicks off the festival run. Yeah, for a fair. This is Earth 217 Studios first go.
Oh. Philly's wearing a hat.
Oh, what? Earth 217 Studios hat? Where'd you get that at?
The Earth 217 Studios store.
What? At earth217studios.com?
/store.
What? Crazy.
It is crazy.
Crazy. I'm sure you can get all sorts of things there. Hats, shirts, mugs, buttons, magnets, all sorts of things.
Posters,
shit, you name it. But yeah, man, I don't even know if there's anything more we can say. You want to talk about another time? I feel like this was a bit of the opposite experience of like Trudy and Matthew Green, where like Trudy wrote this really complex character and Matthew Green really brought it to life, and people were like, wow, he did such a great job. But then with ours, Catherine was just taking like the brunt of backhanded comments afterwards. Where people just kept saying such like, they meant it as a compliment, but every time anybody would say anything, it'd just be like so like mean. It's like, hey, you played crazy really well. What was that? Boo, hiss. I really didn't like you in that, which means you did a great job.
Water in her face.
You fucking bitch, yeah. I mean, some people really enjoyed her performance, but did not know how to word how they enjoyed their performance.
Could have just said, congratulations, you did a really good job. That's normally how I would handle that.
Right, yeah. A lot of backhanded compliments there. But she did do an incredible job, and that was her first time ever seeing it as well. I think, I actually do think the rest of the cast and crew had seen it. Yeah. Other than her. Except maybe Mercedes. I don't know if Mercedes has seen it yet.
I don't know.
But that was her first time seeing it. It was in a theater, and dude, she does so good. She did so good in it. Yeah. Especially because I told you I've seen it 50,000 fucking times, and even I found myself getting into it during her monologue at the end. I was tearing up. I was like, damn. I was like, because that was like, yes, you guys are giving all these backhanded compliments to Catherine, but remember who put those words in her mouth. Yeah. I'm the one who made her such an asshole to begin with, and I remember, texting you, writing the script, being like, Jesus Christ. Like, this character can be so mean. And I've told people since then, like, it's crazy that, like, she was almost even worse. But as that monologue started getting written, like, we really wanted to see it from her perspective too. Like, and I love anybody that can
humanize her a little bit.
Yeah, like, whatever. And it has been interesting because this is the first time we've really we got all the Chase and Shep stuff out, on YouTube to the public. But it's always interesting to hear like people's interpretations of things and like what they took away from it. I have a review to play for you later.
Oh
yeah, but
do that off mic.
Yeah, well, it'd be hard to.
Yeah,
yeah. But man, couldn't have been happier about it.
Yeah, makes me excited for to continue the festival run with the fair, and then to see where things go in the future, especially with like upcoming projects and stuff like that, and really seeing how other people react to it and things like that. So
yeah, I'm excited to see where some of this stuff goes in the future, like refinding some projects like Gunman and some of the shorts we enjoyed. I hope to rediscover these. There's still some we need to check out. Fragments of a Crime, I know, is on YouTube.
Yep, got the link.
We are going to watch it for sure. Might have to throw that in as an addendum in our next episode or something.
Same when we watch the dog park.
Yeah, yeah. Which, we'll have to keep an eye out for distribution on that one. I'm excited to see where things go for our friends over with Brim and to see what happens with that. I'm excited to see what Nat does in the future with his festivals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was just all in all, a great weekend, great festival. I hope that this is a taste of what's to come in the festival run. I'm sure we'll have our ups and downs, but it was a great start. So, so that's the first annual Savoy Lumière.
Hopefully not the last.
Hopefully not the last, for sure. I hope to see this grow in the future.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Until then, that was the old special presentation.
You guys are welcome.
You're welcome, everybody. Earth217studios.com/store. And we'll...
This is Film Chase Watch Everything.
Yep. Peace.
Later.